Read the full question.
Happy Saturday, scientists. Let's review. It's mock and real exam season, and this week we're focusing on exam techniques, things you can do and use in order to get yourself ready for your exams and to power through those exams when it's time to write them. Let's start with the easy stuff, sleeping and eating. In the weeks leading up to your exams, you can reduce your stress levels by getting your sleep schedule under control. Go to bed at the same time every night and make that a reasonable hour so you can get a good night's sleep. Now, this next bit of advice won't be universally popular, but you might find it helps you get to sleep, and it's a great way of ending your day, and that is to read. Read something that isn't schoolwork. Read a wonderful book from your school library, for example, something that's going to help you to escape from everything that's been going on and clear your mind before you go to bed. You can start this reading about half an hour before you plan on going to sleep, and this is a great reason to put your phone away. The other great reason to put your phone away is that the blue light from those screens does really have an impact, and it's a negative impact on how well you can sleep. The mornings are also important in terms of routine. You need to try and get up at the same time every day, and you want to try and keep this to a reasonable hour as well. Have yourself ready for your day. Have yourself ready to get where you need to be without stress. This is going to help keep you mentally calm before you head into any exam. Now that we're up, let's talk about breakfast. Studies have shown that students who eat breakfast on the days of their exams actually do better than students who don't. So even if you're a little bit nervous, you should try and have at least some food before you head into the exam. Studies show that foods that are relatively rich in carbohydrates will give you a slow, steady, constant release of energy during the day and give a boost to your exam performance. Foods rich in choline, the precursor to the neurotransmitter acetylcholine, are useful as well. So maybe toast and eggs for breakfast or overnight oats with yogurt. Just something that's not too complicated, especially if you're one of those people who gets queasy before exams, but something that's going to give you at least some nourishment as you head into that exam. Let's do ourselves a little bit of a mental preparation exercise. It's the night before your exam and you're a little bit nervous. That's perfectly understandable, and in fact it's kind of a good sign. If you're feeling yourself get too nervous, just reassure yourself after all the hard work that you've put in that you really are ready for this exam and you know what you're doing. It might be a little hard to convince yourself of it, but you know it's true. Another way to help reduce stress is to get yourself prepared the night before. Pack your pencil case with your pens, pencils, rulers, calculators, whatever you're going to need for that exam, and your water bottle in your backpack, and have those ready to go the next morning so that once you've had breakfast, you're not running around looking for things. This will keep you mentally calm before your exam. As you arrive at school, for some people, your friends might help you to keep mentally calm, but for other people, they might distract you, so make the right choice. You are essentially an elite athlete getting ready for a competition. You need to be in the zone, and whatever keeps your focus is what you need to do. You want to walk into that exam hall with poise, purpose, and determination. Now that you're in the exam hall, we're going to talk about some of those techniques that you can use in order to confront the paper that's sitting there in front of you. This is a science revision channel, so we will focus on a science paper, but you could probably use these for any exam that you're confronted with. In science, our papers start off with the multiple choice, or as my father calls them, the multiple guess section. But really we're not guessing. What we need to be doing for this section is what I like to call spot the stupid. There are going to be some answers that are very obviously wrong, and our task is to identify those answers, and so in that way, if we really do have to guess, we've at least reduced the number of options that we have to guess between. Let's take a look at a few examples. Question number 1 says, which of the following is a chemical change? Right away, we can identify that melting and freezing are changes of state, and since we know all changes of state to be physical changes, these two options have no business in our list. Next, we hopefully remember that some dissolutions do not actually involve a chemical change, and so therefore A is our best option here. For question number 2, what are the states of matter? Hopefully we can eliminate very quickly that particles, solids, and gas, and pure and impure do not really make sense as states of matter, leaving us in this case with only B as the correct option. For question 3, what is the process where nitrogen is transformed into nitrates? We know we're not making a solid, and so we can eliminate solidification. We can also eliminate decomposition because this is not how this happens, and this leaves us with fixation in this case. The distractor answer A, nitrification, is a related process in the nitrogen cycle, but is not the process we were after. The second section of the exam is your written answer questions, and the way that you need to confront these questions is you need to identify the command word and what that command word is actually wanting you to do. In the case of the command word explain, it wants a because in your answer. So explain the difference between a chemical and physical change. What it's really asking is why isn't a chemical change a physical change, i.e. why are they different? And therefore, what you need to say is that a chemical change produces a new product, and so it's different to a physical change because of that new product being produced. In the second one, distillation, how can it be used to separate a mixture of substances? Again, it's an explain command word, so we're looking for a because. The substances will be separated because they have different boiling points, and the lower boiling point will boil first. In question number 3, the command word is describe, so we'll need to give some qualities or characteristics of what we're dealing with. And so we know that density will decrease as you go from solid to gas, and that's because the volume increases, and therefore the particles are spread further apart. But of course we aren't eliminating particles, and so therefore their mass stays the same. Our next section is the calculation questions, and though these are a little bit mad, there is some method to this madness. The method that I like to use, I call the GRASS method. G in GRASS stands for given. What information does the problem tell us, and what formula should we use? R stands for required. What are we looking for, and what units do we need? All of us are far too smart to fall into the traps that will be placed there of incorrect units, and so therefore we'll do our unit conversions at this point. A is for arranging the equation or changing the subject of the equation. If it has the correct subject, then we're good to go. If it doesn't, then you do your changes here. Then you'll substitute your numbers in, and finally you'll solve it, making your calculator do all the work. We'll try a few example problems here. Question number 1, we're calculating the density of a substance with a mass of 10 grams and a volume of 3 cubic centimeters. We'll write down what we know. We're looking for density, and it will be measured in grams per centimeter cubed. There are some questions where simply writing the unit will enable you to get a mark, so always do that. The mass in this case is given to us as 10 grams, and the volume is given to us as 3 centimeters cubed. If you'd forgotten your formula that density is equal to mass divided by volume, the units for density give you a hint, grams divided by centimeters cubed. The equation is written the way that we would like it to be, and so therefore we can proceed directly to substitution and do 10 divided by 3. In this case, our final answer is 3.3 grams per centimeter cubed. Problem number 2 is asking us to determine an energy use for 1 kilogram of water being heated from 15 to 30 degrees Celsius. Hopefully we recognize this as a specific heat capacity question, the formula being energy is equal to mass times specific heat capacity times the change in temperature. Remember that the Greek letter delta means change. In this case, we are given some information. We're given that energy is what we're looking for, and we know to measure that in joules. We're given a mass of 1 kilogram, and we're given a temperature change, though we do have to do some working out. In this case, we need to do 30 minus 15 to give us 15 degrees. It is a requirement that you memorize the specific heat capacity for water, which is 4,200 joules per kilogram per degree Celsius, and that will give you the information you need there. Next, you take a look at your equation. It is written the way that you would like it to be, and so we can proceed directly to substitution. Energy is equal to 1 kilogram multiplied by 4,200 joules per kilogram degrees Celsius multiplied by 15 degrees Celsius. We can see that our degrees Celsius cancel out and our kilograms cancel out, therefore leaving us with joules, and this is a second way of checking that we've done the equation properly. Our answer is 63,000 joules, or we could convert that into kilojoules if the problem required, but don't waste time on that if you don't need to. What is the population of beetles in a field if 13 were sampled the first time, 11 were sampled the second time, and 3 of those in the second sample were marked? This is a capture-recapture question from biology. We should remember that the population is equal to the number in the first sample multiplied by the number in the second sample divided by the number of marked recaptures. The number in the first sample for us is equal to 13. The number in the second sample is 11. The number of marked recaptures is equal to 3. We can now get ourselves an answer because we don't need to do any unit conversions, so 13 times 11 divided by 3 will give us an answer of 47.66, which we will round to 48 individuals in the population. The final category of questions are our 6 markers, and the easiest way to confront these is to understand that the mark scheme is divided into 3 levels. So even if you can't get all 6 points, if you can get yourself into the first mark band, then you've got a shot at between 1 and 2 marks. In the first mark band, there's always some sort of criteria that sounds like some understanding, right? So it's a very simplistic understanding of the science. There's no hindrance in terms of communication if you haven't used the right science words, etc. The main key point is that you don't contradict yourself. So you don't start your 6-mark answer by saying blue is green and then finish it off by saying green is green. In the level 2, you're now going to need to put kind of more parts to your question. And then in the level 5-6, there's often this criteria here, a quantitative analysis of the results. This isn't going to be for every question, but quite a few of these 6-mark questions will give you a set of data to analyze or a graph to analyze, and including data in your answer and referencing what that data actually means will enable you to move up into those higher mark bands. That's all we have for you this week. Best of luck revising, and to those of you who are writing November exams, the best of luck to you. Happy Saturday Science, and have a lovely week, everyone.